Sheriff Richard Roundtree started a war of words over a case involving one of his deputies.
He had strong words calling Payne's methods unorthodox. This involves the case of Deputy Brandon Keithley. He's been indicted on 2 aggravated assault charges after hitting another deputy over the head with a flashlight while they were at the scene of a deadly shooting.
The I-Team's Meredith Anderson has been following these developments since the night that incident happened back in February.
For the second day in a row, I asked Sheriff Richard Roundtree to sit down with me to tell his side of the story. He did not take me up on that offer, but District Attorney Natalie Payne did. This piece of paper will have to once again speak for Sheriff Richard Roundtree, who used it to come out swinging at District Attorney Natalie Payne following word a grand jury indicted one of his own.
The press release yesterday from the sheriff was disappointing to read, for sure.
He made some pretty strong accusations, especially with your motivations behind this being political.
Right, and it felt very personal.
The sheriff calling her handling of the case extremely unorthodox and inexcusable.
That has no place in the law enforcement, to be honest with you. You know, you can't take things personally. You can't make things personal. Certainly, my response was not personal at all. It's more or less, you know, these are the facts.
She says the facts are COVID delayed this case, not her office. The first grand jury presentment came March 10th. 4 days later, lockdown.
Nor would I ever even, it's disgusting and just unconscionable to think about trying to use the platform of the district attorney to punish people for other people's mistakes.
Meanwhile, criminally indicted Deputy Brandon Keithley remains on paid administrative leave. The I-Team combed through his personnel file today and crunched the numbers. According to this, it appears Richmond County taxpayers will be paying Keithley almost $20 an hour, or more than $1,600 every 2 weeks, to not do any work at all while facing felony charges.
That is very unorthodox. I mean, it's always been the procedure, as far as I'm aware, that once someone is indicted, that they are no longer employed with the sheriff's office at all.
Meanwhile, the I-Team was first to break the news. Incoming District Attorney Jared Williams will recuse himself from the case. He wrote, "Mr. Keithley is currently represented by the Hawk firm, of which I am a member." He goes on to say he'll report the conflict of interest to the Attorney General's office and the case will be reassigned. This is the same procedure, he writes, that was violated earlier this year in the Ahmaud Arbery case. I take the ethics code very seriously. Our invitation to Sheriff Richard Roundtree stands. We would very much like to hear his side of the story and ask him some questions. Keithley is due in court December 18th. We're planning to be there as well.
Thanks, Meredith. Much more news ahead after a quick check of the weather. Sunset was beautiful tonight. Let's check in with Riley Hale.
Just a little bit.
Thanks, Riley. New COVID cases shooting up right now in Georgia. Today is the second day in a row of more than 4,000 new cases. That's the most daily cases in the Peach State since the beginning of August. You can see on this graph from the Department of Health, that's causing the 7-day moving average to shoot back up after we had started seeing a downward trend.
In South Carolina, more than 1,700 new cases today. You can see in this graph from DHEC, that is on the higher end for South Carolina daily cases. It's been 16 days straight of at least 1,000 new cases per day in the Palmetto State. And as those COVID cases continue to climb, leaders across the country are hoping for a vaccine soon, including to roll that out in Georgia.
And our hospitals are already getting ready to bring in that vaccine and store it whenever it's ready. Brittany Trapnell spoke with our local hospitals today about how they're getting ready.
The vaccine isn't far away.
I expect that the CDC will move forward with this distribution plan.
Dr. Philip Kuhl with AU Health says that means the state of Georgia will likely receive around 600,000 doses of the vaccine before the end of the year. AU says they ordered specialized freezers a couple months ago, and they'll be here within the next 2 weeks.
We've developed a strategy for vaccinating our most at-risk healthcare providers.
Dr. Kuhl says they will get the chance to be vaccinated first, then long-term care or nursing home residents. They've been approved already by the Georgia Department of Public Health to be a distribution site. University Hospital says they're approved to be a distribution location as well. And the low-temperature freezers for the Pfizer vaccine are ordered. Officials say they're working to figure out the final details of distribution. The VA hospital also plans to follow CDC guidelines and doesn't know how many doses they'll receive. All this, as public opinion is still up in the air on the safety of the shots.
I will get this vaccine when it's offered to me, even though I've already set the right example.
Dr. Cool says he'll encourage family and friends to do the same.
This vaccine appears to be highly effective and with minimal side effects and no major adverse events. Compare that to the risk of getting COVID. This is a no-brainer decision, in my opinion.
Health officials expect the general public will get a chance to be vaccinated by spring or early summer at the latest. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Troutnell on your side.
And a reminder, these vaccines come in 2 doses, and you take those several weeks apart, so it will require some follow-up on everyone's part.
Taking a look at coronavirus at our local hospitals this evening, this graph shows how many COVID patients have been in our hospitals since October the 1st. You can see hospitalizations there trending up. It's the same thing is happening across the country. 46 COVID patients at AU Health right now, 21 at Doctors Hospital. Last we heard on Tuesday, Aiken Regional had 18 patients. And we haven't heard from University Hospital in more than 3 weeks now. As cases and hospitalizations both rise nationally, you may be worried about loved ones in nursing homes right now.
You may have plans to see them for the holidays, but there are rules you have to follow. Celeste Springer walks us through the protocols on both sides of the river.
Nationwide, Kaiser and AARP are reporting that 40% of all COVID-related deaths are coming from nursing homes and the long-term care facilities. It's a lot to consider when you're making what seems like an impossible decision this holiday.
What we need to know about nursing homes is that they're not prisons, okay? People can leave. Residents are free to leave if they would like to go.
Brian Lee is the director of Families for Better Care, an advocacy group for nursing home residents. So how can you know what's best? We checked the recommendation from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid and found as long as your county has a positivity rate below 10%, the decision to visit your loved one or bringing them home for the holidays is up to you and them.
My recommendation is it's going to be up to the resident. It's going to be up to them to make that final decision, but they just want to be extremely careful in doing so.
To complicate your decision even more, South Carolina and Georgia have different recommendations. South Carolina DHEC recommends all residents who leave quarantine from everyone in the facility for 14 days. Meanwhile, Georgia DPH recommends considering different factors, like if the celebrations were inside, longer than an hour, or with more than 5 people. If the visit is deemed safe enough, a 14-day quarantine may not be required.
My concern has been not so much the residents leaving, it's what happens when they get back.
Georgia DPH recommends you consider if your care facility has enough PPE. According to AARP, 16% of nursing homes in Georgia didn't even have a week's supply back in October. A lot to consider in a pandemic where every individual decision carries so much weight.
Try some way to see your loved one, just to make sure they do so in a safe manner that's going to keep everyone alive through this pandemic. We want to see people beyond these holidays into next year once we get hopefully back to some normalcy.
Celeste Springer, on your side.
A lot of tough decisions for families. Recreational use of Lake Olmsted will be limited for almost a whole year. The Augusta Engineering Department is about to start work to improve the look of the lake and its water levels. They'll be dredging the lake using heavy machinery to scoop out mud, weeds, and trash. That project is expected to limit recreational use of Lake Olmsted until almost next Halloween.
We are raising money for our children's hospital right now. The 20th annual Cares for Kids Radiothon got started today. Going to take you there now live where we find our own Cliff Bennett live for us. And Cliff, things look a little different over there right now. For starters, you're not in the lobby like we always are.
No, we're not. Actually, the first time in 20 years that we haven't been situated in the lobby with everybody there. This has basically become a virtual radiothon and telethon this year because of COVID. However, the need is still dire. It's time to make those donations and make those funds ring. We're into the last hour of our first day of the radiothon here at the Children's Hospital of Georgia in conjunction with iHeartMedia of Augusta and News 12 and BC 26. This hour, we're actually shopping. We're shopping for a mobile gaming center. This is a gaming unit that can go from room to room, and it's a very special unit because it's also a sanitized mobile gaming unit. We need 27 Miracle Makers between now and 7 o'clock. We need to get 27 bells ringing off of these phones here. To become a Miracle Maker, it's a donation of $15 a month or a one-time donation of $180 a month. Now, if you're blessed enough to be able to afford that and you can donate that, thank you. If you're not, don't worry. Any donation will go towards this wonderful non-for-profit organization that turns no child, no family away when they come to the doors here. We're very fortunate to have an organization like this in our own area. every cent that is raised during these radiothons and telethons stays right here in our area, helps the kids, does not go towards any administrative facilities, hence the shopping this hour for the gaming unit. There's so many ways that you can donate right now. You can call 866-412-5437. Get one of these phones to ring and ring that bell. You can also text the word CHOG, C-H-O-G, to 51555. Or you can go online, make a secure donation at caresforkidsradiothon.com. Phone lines going until 7 o'clock tonight, 6 a.m. to 7 tomorrow, 8 until 1 on Saturday. The text and online 24/7. Make those donations now. Our 20th annual Cares for Kids Radiothon at the Children's Hospital of Georgia. It's Cliff Bennett.
Cliff, thanks. I know our viewers are always generous. We appreciate you there with this reminder about why it's so important. Thanks, Cliff. We'll check in later.
A live look for you now from downtown Aiken, where the Night of 1,000 Lights just got started about 10 minutes ago. You can see a lot of people, Kicks 99 out there, the street all lit up. Aside from those beautiful lights down Lawrence Street, shops in downtown Aiken will stay open later until 8 o'clock tonight. They'll also offer holiday treats, drinks, and music for a festive night out.
Love the old cars, too. That's beautiful downtown. Well, if you can't make it over to Aiken right now, there are plenty of Christmas events coming up here in the River Region. The 29th Annual Christmas in Hopelands going on right now at Hopelands Gardens until the 27th of December. Tomorrow, Aiken lights up its Christmas tree downtown. The 5th Annual Grovetown Christmas Festival kicks off Saturday, and then Sunday is the Martinez Evans Christmas Parade. Yeah, they're doing that this year. Starts at 3:30, and after dark, they'll light the Christmas tree right there at Evans Town Center. So much going on, but bundle up out there.
More than a dozen packages dumped on the side of the road by an Amazon driver. We found out why and how one woman made it her mission to get them where they needed to go.
And if you're stepping out to maybe go to some of those holiday events, temps are already down to the 40s across many spots. Take a look at some warmer weather and some rain heading our way tomorrow. Coming up.
This advertising.
One of our favorite animal activists, Roman, back at it again, helping shelter animals. Check out all the donations he's collected through his group Project Freedom Ride. From dog and cat food to treats and toys, all of this going to the Washington Wilkes Animal Shelter, but he says they need more.
But this is one thing I want to be a little greedy about. Well, not a little greedy, a lot greedy. I want everything off that wish list for our Christmas at the shelter with the Washington Wilkes Animal Shelter. So we really need you to donate.
Just take all of our money. My gosh, he's so cute. You heard him. Still dozens of items on that wish list. They have it posted on their Facebook page. Just search Project Freedom Ride.
His passion is just amazing. You can also help those shelter animals by bringing one home. How can you say no to these faces? Look at their eyes. Animal shelters and rescues across South Carolina taking part in the annual Pick Me SC. So they're offering free and low-fee adoption starting tomorrow right through next weekend. The Aiken County Animal Shelter, the Albrecht Center, the Humane Society all have deals going on right now.
All we need is the Sarah McLachlan music, just playing low and slow.
It is too much.
Take a look at all that will be going under kids' Christmas trees this year. This is what 2,500 toys looks like. Wow. That's how much Savannah Riverside employees donated to Toys for Tots and the Salvation Army this year. Just grabbing it up by the handfuls. They've been doing this for 19 years to help kids in the river region. They collected more than 400,000 toys in that time. So congratulations to them, and wow, that will really make a difference for a lot of families.
Hey, Waynesboro, another chance for you to donate. The Burke County Sheriff's Office asking for toys or Walmart gift cards for kids in Burke County. They're collecting donations right there at the Sheriff's Office and Judicial Center. You can also bring your toys or gift cards there Monday through Friday, 8:30 in the morning until 5 in the evening, or drop them off at the Fish Eye Grill from 11 to 9 on Thursday through Saturday, or 11 to 3 if you push this until Sunday. You can even mail a donation the old-fashioned way to the Sheriff's P.O. Box.
Well, it's not every December that it actually feels like December around here, Riley, but you know what? You're coming through for us.
We have been getting spoiled this week, actually feeling like in most of next week, trending dry as well.
This year, more people than ever will be shipping presents.
But this week, some Amazon packages were left under the wrong tree in Savannah. Sam Bowman spoke to a woman who decided she had to get them home for the holidays.
Monday was a pretty typical day for Rachel Griner.
I was cleaning my house, and the Amazon van pulls up. He pulls up like every day at my house, so I was like, great.
But when he didn't come to her door and then quickly pulled away, Rachel noticed something strange.
And there were all these packages.
More than a dozen packages addressed to people all over Savannah, abandoned, leaving Rachel more than a little confused.
I walked outside thinking, is this a publicity stunt? What's happening?
But of course, it wasn't. So Rachel called Amazon, and after being passed around for a while,
I got transferred several times.
she finally got her answer.
If no one comes to pick them up from Amazon in 48 hours, you can have the items. So keep them or donate them.
An answer she didn't like.
That's not going to work for me.
So she took it into her own hands, posting a picture and the names from the packages to social media. And before she knew it, the responses were rolling in, and the packages were rolling out.
People started coming and picking them up, and it was great. They were like, oh, this is my neighbor, and people were just good and helpful.
Rachel happily standing guard.
But, I had my glass of wine, and it was fine, so I just stood there until they were gone.
And in a year that has gotten the best of many of us.
2020 has been brutal, so I can definitely see where he was having the kind of day that he just wanted to throw packages out the window.
Perhaps the biggest gift we can deliver is a little compassion and some faith in each other.
I think people are generally good, and if we can assume that about one another, maybe we'll have a better 2021.
She is so right? Amazon did send out a statement about those dumped packages. They say this does not reflect their high standards, and that driver is no longer delivering packages for Amazon. They say they're working with those impacted customers. But boy, she jumped in and really took control.
Yeah, really didn't even blame him, just said we're all having a bad year, but, never underestimate a mom holding a glass of wine. We will wait around those packages as long as it takes.
Make sure they get to their rightful home under the tree this year. Okay, to sports, and Georgia Southern's mascot Gus in town spreading some holiday cheer, plus a top 10 matchup for those South Carolina women. Are they still top of the game? You bet they are. Mike has more next in sports.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Wrdw.
It's so nice to finally be in the holiday season, and what better way to spread some holiday cheer than with a college mascot who's all decked out in holiday apparel. Georgia Southern's Gus the Eagle visited the Augusta Junior League office Thursday afternoon, fully decked out in Santa gear. About 60 people registered for the meet and greet, and how nice it is to see some of those smiles. Eagle Alumni Network chairperson Rachel Rhodes-Dyer said it's the product of something she'd been working on for 3 years.
This is the first time he's been here. They've been doing Santa Gus for about 4 years. It started in Statesboro, and then it went to Atlanta, and then it went to Savannah, and so it's finally our turn. So I'm so excited for this.
Following a weekend of wins over ranked opponents, another real test for the Gamecocks tonight as the South Carolina women host number 8 North Carolina State. Don Staley's squad has already registered wins over 21st ranked Gonzaga and 28th ranked South Dakota. Neither South Dakota nor Gonzaga were easy for Staley's team, but she likes seeing how her players are responding to the challenge so far.
We had to fight, and you could see on their faces they didn't bend, they didn't flinch. Even when we went down in that last game in the fourth quarter, you just saw them go about their business and stay focused on the task at hand.
Coastal Carolina pulled off a miracle rescheduling feat. Their game against Liberty this weekend was canceled due to COVID within the Flames program, but now the Chanticleers will welcome 8th ranked BYU. That's going to be a fun one.
For the weekend, we're looking good.